Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Self-Taught. I am your host Becky Onyango, and I'm very happy that you've been able to take your time today to tune in for today's episode. So I'm pretty excited about today's topic because it's one of my favorite topics, and that is scholarships and scholarship opportunities generally. So this is specifically for Kofi Annan Fellowship Program, which I so happen to be a recipient. And I'm just going to share my experience as well and also break down the information on some of the requirements that are needed for you to submit your application and hopefully qualify for it. Now, the Kofi Annan Fellowship Program is aimed at funding the education of junior managers from developing countries in ESMT Berlin. That is European School of Management and Technology, which is based in Berlin. And then upon graduation, with the hope of the managers going back to their countries to facilitate development economically. So definitely, if you are a student who's just a fresh undergraduate student, you don't have much experience in the professional field where you are based, then definitely this is a program that you could consider to apply for before you graduate or even upon graduation. But if you do have a bit of experience in the professional field, even you have a better chance as well to apply for it. Now, the money that goes into this funding, primarily from what I remember, from some of the big corporate companies in Germany like Allianz, Mercedes-Benz. So specifically in my case, I remember Allianz is the one that was responsible for covering the tuition fee. And normally the corporate companies usually have like these CSR departments, which are responsible for social responsibility and giving back to the community. So one of the ways of doing that is by funding needy students from developing countries who are also bright and intelligent, in the hopes of them going back to their countries in order to facilitate developments in various sectors and various fields. So they do this funding through the Friends of ESMT. Usually, in order to apply for this fellowship program, you first need to submit your application to ESMT Berlin, and that is via their website. And usually, once you submit the application, there are 2 essays which are usually required. But if you want to be considered for a scholarship, then you can write the 3rd essay, whereby you specifically talk about yourself, why you think you're the best fit for this kind of program, and what you'd also be able to bring, apart from the fact that you're able to learn as much as you could in the school. So normally SMT has several programs, business programs. The most common programs that I usually apply to are Masters in Management, the Masters in Business Administration, as well as the Executive MBA programs. And usually the only difference is just based on the level of the professional level that each candidate is at. So for the MEM program, usually targets junior managers who have 0 to less than 5 years experience. Then the MBA, at least a minimum of 5 years experience. And then the Executive MBA are for high-level senior, or let's say C-level managers in companies, in major companies. So some of the steps you should keep in mind while applying for this program are like, you should have technical background. And if your undergraduate was based on maybe say mathematics, statistics, you do have an upper hand of being accepted into the program. So for example, in my case, I did an undergrad in actuarial science, and that entails a lot of statistics, finance and accounting. But then again, if you don't have any technical background per se, you can still apply for the program, but you would need to submit a GMAT or GRE test score. So it just depends. You just have to prove your technical ability. So if you also plan to apply for a scholarship and you're not able to afford for the GMAT test, you could also request for a fee waiver, whereby the school could cover the costs of the test on your behalf. So when filling out the application, of course, when it comes to the personal details, ensure they're all correct. And then when submitting the essays, just try as much as possible to be as honest as possible, and also try to put an emphasis on how your career goals would align with the school's missions for the students. So you have to touch a little bit on why you think you're a good candidate for this particular cohort for that year. And then also what you'd be able to bring to the table, as well as what you look forward to, learn from the school as well. Now, remember, the MIM program in ESMT is a very rigorous program, very rigorous. And it can be very challenging, but it's thrilling as well. You get to learn a lot of exposure to different kind of, companies and knowledge and ways of handling management at different corporate levels. And it's very, very interesting. So you have to be ready mentally and physically for that. And you have to think like a business leader. Then also, part of the application would require for you to submit a recommendation. And normally you only have one chance. So one person can only recommend you, at least. So in this case, best to choose someone who knows you both professionally and academic-wise. So for example, if you went for an internship in a company somewhere, the supervisor who was dealing with you in the company, because he would also have to access some of the reports about you as a student and will be in touch with one of your lecturers, might be a good recommender for you, because he's seen how you can work in the professional setting as well as knows your academic capabilities. Finally, last but not least, keep in mind that enrollment is usually once a year in September, and there are 3 rounds of application. So of course, the earlier you submit the application, the better you stand at a chance of getting the scholarship as well. So this is pretty much it about some of the facts that you should consider when applying for the scholarship. Without further ado, I wish you guys a lovely day. Take care, and we'll see you next time.